you sort of answered a few of the things that I was going to ask next. I was going to ask what sort of like action items or physical techniques and things you do to actually set, I suppose, that you would recommend to entrepreneurs to actually set themselves up for success. And you already explained a few of those things, but do you do anything like to-do lists? Do you have, I know some people don't like to-do lists, some people love them. Is there a mindset where you're like, okay, I'm going to do the hardest thing first, or is there anything like that you think?
Well, there's a few things. One is that by nature, and it's over now, I'm past it, but I was born a lazy person. So like some people are like, are good in school, they get their homework done, like they're proactive about things. I was extremely lazy. And I think that that's by nature, almost like a genetic thing. Like I did enough to get by, but I never did extra, right? And so that has followed me, even working for Palumbo and stuff. I still had a lot of that, and I had to fight against it. And so what a habit that I formed, and really this is really what it comes down to is habits, is I formed this habit. I told myself that I'm lazy. I was honest and said, you're lazy. So what I need to do to combat that is to do shit right away, to get shit done instantly. And so so something would need to be done. Let's say I need to edit a video, right? And I'm tired. It's late at night for Dave. I would be like, okay, instead of laying down and looking at my phone or calling Darielle or whatever, I'm going to stop everything because I know that I don't want to do it, and I'm going to do it right away. And that habit, it started like literally by that, and it has built into now a thing where I think that if you ask people like about me, probably one of the first things they would tell you is that I get shit done, is that I'm extremely driven to get shit done. And that now is second nature. It's like, instead of being a lazy person, I'm a person who gets shit done. And almost to the level of where it is unhealthily obsession based, kind of like, or like if you text me, if Xavier texts me, if you text me today, I will feel a compulsion to text you back. Right?
Yeah, you write back quick, man. You write back quick.
I can't, it's like I can't help it. And Darielle will tell you that this is something that she doesn't like about me. So if I get a business email at 11 o'clock at night that I feel like I have to write back, I just do it. So we could be in a movie, we could be in the middle of a conversation, it could be anything. And so like other stuff, like if I have meetings or calls or whatever, I won't be able to just not do it or text. It's just like a compulsion. I have to get shit done. And so, yes, it's become a really big asset for me because I don't procrastinate. I always get stuff done. I don't ever put anything off, ever. There's things like today I had a call with somebody that I didn't want to do. I knew I didn't want to do it. It was not that it wasn't like it was going to be not a fun call. And I made sure, literally, I was like waiting for the minute for me to call him, exactly on the minute to call him and get it done. Because I knew I didn't want to do it. I literally wanted to avoid it. So I literally waited until 3 o'clock, and at 3 I hit the dial and did it. So that's one big thing. The other thing I would say is goal setting and making a physical list of your goals. It's something that I think is a big deal. I think about goals all the time, many times a day. And I think because I think of the goals many times a day, I am extremely likely to achieve the goals because I'm always thinking about it. Even like, I'll give you a great example that I think that people will probably think is silly, is I think about weight loss now that I'm dieting, and I weigh myself twice a day. And the reason why I weigh myself twice a day is because I think it's very important that your mind stays on task. So my goal is to lose 2 pounds a week, right? So I weigh myself in the morning and at night, and it reminds me, my mind and my body, that I'm trying to lose weight. And as a result of that, I've never had a problem getting leaner. And maybe it's because the mind is so powerful, it's controlling the body, or maybe it's just me reminding myself, don't cheat, don't do anything stupid. You're weighing yourself twice a day. You want to continue to make progress. But for whatever the reason, that helps me a lot. So I'm a big proponent of writing down your goals and then thinking about them a lot. When I was on drugs, or when I was coming off drugs, I wrote a list of 10 things that I wanted to do, that I wanted to achieve. And some of them were very simple. And then some of them were ridiculously lofty, like own a Ferrari, have an article written about me in a magazine. I had a lot of crazy stuff, that didn't make sense. Present an award on Mr. Olympia stage, present an award on Arnold stage, like weird stuff, And all of them were really were like lofty, kind of weird stuff, that you wouldn't think that I would be able to achieve, like own a Ferrari. When you're on methadone, coming off of heroin, and you live in a $500 a month apartment, owning a Ferrari seems like a really crazy thing to aspire to. It's an impossible thing. But I had this list, and I kept it in my wallet, and I would look at it, I don't know, a dozen times a day. Look at the list. I would take it out, look at it, and I checked every one of those things off that list. Wow. So from the time that I wrote the list to 5 years later, every single one of those things was checked off, and I still have the list. So if you, I think that it's very important to think about where you want to be, even if it's some crazy nonsense, and write it down, and then think about it a lot. Because if you're thinking about it, it's like knowing a game plan, like writing a map to a prize or treasure or whatever. If you don't have your map, if you don't know where you're going, you don't have some goals, you don't look at the map a lot, you're not going to be able to get where you're trying to go. So I'm a big believer in that. I don't write them down as much anymore, and I carry them in my wallet, look at it all the time. But I do have a set of goals, especially for business, that I think about all the time, that we discuss all the time. And I think that is a very, very big deal. Because if you don't have goals, if you don't have some place you want to be, how the hell are you going to get there?
Yeah, for sure. And even like, I mean, would you recommend people putting this somewhere that they can see it all the time? Like, putting it up on a whiteboard in their office, something like that?
Sure. I mean, one of the things that I like people do with stuff like this is put it on their mirror in the morning. So when they look at their mirror to brush their teeth or whatever, comb their hair, they're seeing this in the morning. On the refrigerator is another one. The mirror is probably a good place. You see people that do these vision boards and stuff like that. And I think that's a very good idea. Creating one, looking at it, seeing it, having goals that are visible, because I really do think that the mind is incredibly powerful, and people don't even realize the power of the mind. We don't understand a majority of what goes on upstairs. The scientists can't explain everything that's happening in your brain, and I think that there's a lot more going on than we think, and if you can at least have something that you're seeing and thinking about, the fact of you actually, manifesting the things that are required to achieve that, I think it's possible. And I think that a big part of that. Now, obviously, you can imagine anything you want. If you not do the steps and you don't work, nothing's going to happen. You can't just sit and stare at something all day and imagine a Lamborghini and it's going to appear, because there's a lot that goes to it. But if you're thinking about it a lot, then you're probably doing the steps to get there.
For sure. Do you put a time limit on any of these goals? Like, obviously, like business goals, like with Redcon, when you're going to be like, we want X amount of sales next month, obviously that's a time limit. But do you put time limit on personal goals in terms of when you want to become the number one supplement company in the world and things like that?
Some of them, yeah. Some of the things I do. I mean, sometimes it's tough to put an actual time limit on it, because then, you're kind of like, you could potentially fail and still get what you're going for. Yep. And there's some things that are just too big to say, hey, this is when it's going to happen. But like for me, our goal for 2019 is to do over $100 million in sales. So everybody in the office knows that. Everybody, we talk about it all the time. How is it going to happen? What are the things we need to do? What do the accounts need to do? What does each department need to achieve? All that stuff to hit that number for 2019. So that is like a big overlying thing. So that ends at December 31st, when the year is over, that goal is done. It's finite, right? And a lot of the goals are like that with business. But then if it's some big thing where you're like, for example, if you say, I want to be the biggest supplement company in the world, it's very difficult to predict when that would occur. So yeah, I think that also a lot of that is a perception too, right? So like Optimum, right, you would think is the biggest supplement company in the world, but I don't know that for sure. It just seems like it. Yeah. Muscle Tech is huge. You wouldn't in America. It's nowhere. So, so I would say it's good to have a goal in terms of the time too, because I think that as an entrepreneur, if you just leave it open-ended, it's like dieting for a show. If you're like, I'm going to do a show one day, it's very hard to say I'm doing a show one day and then stick to your diet every day. You know what I mean? I mean, you as a competitor and as a diet coach, if you're like, Xavier, you're gonna do a show at one point, start dieting your ass off. You're gonna be like, oh fuck, it could be a year or two. You need like to say, I'm gonna do a show in August, because that way you can prepare and you have an end date in mind.
For sure. Exactly. And it's even funny, like that you've mentioned that whole thing with, goal setting and everything. I actually thought like, this is sort of the start of my new YouTube channel. My old channel, had however many subscribers and stuff where I did a little bit, but I actually thought, okay, in 6 months from me starting this, I want to get a sponsorship. I've noticed with like Nick Strength and Power, like you guys sponsor him, and he does, massive numbers on YouTube, and that's obviously a good sponsorship deal you've got with him. And I'm like, I thought to myself, in 6 months, I want to be sponsored by either Redcon1 or something like that, and I'm going to do daily videos. That's what's going to happen. And I've thought of that, and from the point of starting, that's what I'm going to do: daily videos and get a sponsorship. But so hopefully in 6 months' time, we'll be talking about a sponsorship.
Good. You're setting me up for it right now. Huh?
Exactly. This is what this is all about now. So I want to discuss a few things, like what would be, I suppose, one or two things you could recommend to any online business, online business owners or people that work for businesses that they should do. Like, is it putting out more video content? Is it being transparent like you guys are? What are a few simple things, I suppose, you'd recommend an online business to work on that people, I suppose, don't do enough?
Sure. Well, I mean, a few basic things. One would be to utilize all the social media that's available to you. Yep. So media that we're doing like now, YouTube, I mean, all of these things can generate traffic and interest and awareness in whatever you're doing. So, you should certainly utilize all the free platforms as best that you can. I mean, that is a huge, huge thing. If you have a budget, I would suggest that people focus on Facebook first for ad spend. Facebook, what your cost per click and stuff is very low. The other good thing is getting ambassadors on Instagram. If you get influencer marketing, depending on how you do it and what your budget is, or if you have enough people in your network that can help you promote something for little to no money, even better. So those are two things. The other big thing for e-com stuff is I think not enough people focus on the they call it friction, conversion, like the friction around conversion. So when you design a website or you have a website, you want to have as little friction to check out as possible. So a lot of the websites, when I look at a website, I can you can determine relatively easily how easy is it to buy something. And we have really worked on that a lot and optimizing the ability to convert and optimizing the ease of use of a website. So some websites can look awesome and they still suck because it makes it very difficult. You don't even realize unless you play with it and really think about how easy it is or hard it is to convert. So you want to really make sure that your website is easy to purchase something from. Sometimes some sites that are very, very simple do extremely well because they're easy and simple. You got to remember that people generally are not smart. So if you were assuming that the person is like you when you're designing the site or designing anything really, then you may be very disappointed and stuff may not work. You need to keep it really the KISS principle. Keep it like simple, stupid, right? You want it very, very easy, and you want it to be simple. So those are a few things for e-com businesses. I mean, there's a lot of tips for e-com, for direct-to-consumer businesses, because this is the wave of the future. I mean, this is what it is. I mean, this is big. Now, I know Amazon is not as big in Australia yet, but it's getting bigger. Yeah. Just like in the UK and EU. UK, Amazon has picked up a lot. I mean, Amazon is also something that you should take a close look at and also think about, can the thing that you're doing, if you're creating something new, always make sure that it's something that is not something that Amazon can just do at any point and cut you out. That's one of the things that people talk about. Can it be Amazoned? Because if business can be, they may go there eventually. But also on the flip side, you can utilize Amazon. Amazon is a very powerful platform in America. We did not have Amazon initially. What we did was we sold to other people, third-party retailers that sold on Amazon. And man, it was a clusterfuck because these people don't care about the price integrity or the brand integrity at all. Yeah. So you would sell, like, say, Xavier comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to buy Total War. I'll buy 1,000 units." Well, I give you a great price. Instead of making more money and selling it for $39.99 on your Amazon store, you're like, well, I want to sell more. I'm going to sell it for $29.99 because I got a great price. And what it does is it erodes the integrity of the brand, the price integrity of the products. And now when retailers, because you go into a retailer, the first thing they do when you try to sell them Total War is they go to Amazon and see what it's selling for. they see $29.99 and you're trying to sell it to them for $25, and they're like, hell no, I'm not doing that. This price, it sucks, you know. So we actually got invited to Amazon to be part of what they call the success team, the success team to help us rather. So these guys saw that we had no Amazon store of our own, no brand, but we had all these people selling it. So what they want to do is they want to create relationships with brands so that they can then take control of their own brand and they can spend money on Amazon advertising. Because I would never spend money on advertising at that point because we had all these other people selling for cheaper.
Yeah.
So what we ended up doing is we ended up cutting off everybody that was selling on Amazon and then slowly weeding out people that we didn't even know were selling on Amazon and sending out cease and desists and all kinds of legal stuff. And eventually we got rid of everybody, and now we control all the buy boxes for all the products on Amazon. And we have started to advertise on Amazon. We don't spend a tremendous amount of money, but maybe like $700-800 a day on Amazon. And man, it literally went from nothing to many hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on Amazon. And it's been a really cool thing. And one of the things I really regret is that we didn't do that from the very beginning. Is that I allowed people to sell on Amazon. I didn't control the brand integrity, the price integrity, and I think that as good as the brand has done, as fast as it has grown, I wonder how much faster it would have been if I would have kept all the prices at MAP by not selling to all the people that sold on Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how long would you continue on something if it's not working business-wise? Like if you were just say putting stuff out on YouTube or putting stuff out on Instagram in a certain way or doing live videos and they're not getting much traction, just say it's 3 months, 6 months down the track, when do you stop doing something or do you have to be patient? I mean, I've heard Gary Vee talk about it and says like, you need to do a YouTube series and leave it for a year and you probably won't be popular for a year and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Do you recommend doing something like that or do you recommend just like if it's not working after 3 or 4 months, cut it?
No, I mean, so yeah, Gary Vee did 1,000 videos before he started getting any traction. I think that's what he says, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that, so one thing is doing it organically and having no money to do anything. So fortunately for me, we don't ever do anything like that really. We have money to put behind stuff so I can get it in front of people quick. So like, I don't do this, but let's say I did a YouTube channel like Nick, or I wouldn't do one like Nick, but like if I did a YouTube thing for myself, I have the ability to spend money to put it in front of more people.
Yep.
So I could throttle it quick. I wouldn't spend my time personally now doing a video series unless there was some ROI or I saw some sort of engagement quickly. But in the beginning, I would have done whatever. I would do anything, and it may take some time to get popular. It could take a long time, but if you quit, you definitely won't get popular. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I mean, that's the one guarantee is if you stop doing it, it's not going to get popular.
Yeah.
So it's like business, business in general. There's no guarantee you're going to make tons of money, but if you stop, there's no chance at all. So you got to keep grinding away, and in the world of direct-to-consumer business and e-com, you need to have content. Content is king, no doubt about it. And so by going on YouTube and doing a daily series, one of the things that you definitely want to do is be consistent, no question. If you ask Nick for Nick Strength and Power, what he thinks one of his big contributing factors is that he was doing tons of videos. At one point, he was doing 3 or 4 videos a day, all day long. He was like, this is his job, doing videos. And at first, he was making very little money doing videos, no money. It was just like a hobby that he did all the time. And now he's making, I don't know, $50,000-$60,000 a month doing videos, maybe more than that even. Because this is his job. This is what he does for a living.
Yeah.
He takes it very seriously, but he was one that wasn't popular for a long time. I think years he wasn't popular. But look what he has grown with this thing, and he's a young guy. I mean, Nick's younger than you. And
he's only 26 or something.
Yeah, I think 26, 25 or 26. Yeah. And he's created this success and is making a great living doing something really cool that he enjoys. But I mean, he definitely was patient. It didn't happen overnight. So my answer is that, when you feel like you got something to offer, I wouldn't quit. If you think you suck at it and you think you're doing a bad job and you show it to people and they're like, that was stupid, and it's a talent thing. Sometimes you just don't get the talent, and maybe that's not the best use of your time. Not everybody is meant to be on YouTube. Not everybody
Yeah.
is meant to do. You could be great at a lot of things, and maybe your thing is not going to be, whatever that may be. So maybe there's something else that you could be doing. There's plenty of people that I know that are great writers that if I put a microphone in front of them, they're not going to know what to do.
Yeah.
So that person needs to do needs to be a writer. So it just depends. But content is definitely king. One form or another, you definitely need to do content to bring in awareness and to provide value to people in hopes that they come back and purchase.
What are you bigger on? I suppose like you've got to have a certain amount of quantity of content, but do you ever sacrifice, I suppose, like obviously with your business now, you've got plenty of people, I'm sure, working on online content all the time. But for a smaller business, would you say quantity or quality? I suppose you've got to have a combination of both, but do you put more emphasis on the amount you're putting out or just like quality, less regular posts?
I would if in terms of posting, it really depends on the platform. So like on Instagram, for example, I would say that quality initially is much more important, but you still need to be regular about it. I mean, you need to be posting once a day at least.
You put out a lot, man. Like I looked at your Instagram and you're putting out, I think you put out 75 posts since the 1st of January.
Have I? Jeez. That's crazy.
It's a lot, man. I looked it up and I put out, I think it was like 15. So you were smashing it, man.
Well, I try to post once or twice every day, at least once or twice every day. And then Redcon posts every 2 hours.
Wow.
So I have them post every 2 hours. Now, the negative part about posting every 2 hours is that you don't get as many likes, right?
Yeah.
Because you're throttling new content. But I don't care about likes. I think the likes and the engagement stuff is important, but it is not the key. The key for me is impressions.
Yeah.
So the amount of people that see it, the amount of accounts that you reach. So we've experimented a lot. The analytics are available for anybody that has a business manager, a business account. You can see the analytics of your page. And I can have Rudy, our social media director, post one great post a day, and it can get 2,500 likes and 50 comments, 100 comments, and it can be seen by, let's say, 10,000, 15,000 people, 20,000 people, something like that, right? Or I can have them post 10 times, and they can be seen by 5,000 people each, which ends up being 60,000 people, and it can get 700 likes and 10 comments. But when you add it all up, there's no question that you're reaching more people.
Yeah.
So for a personal page, I would not suggest that necessarily. But for us, it has 100% definitely worked. All you have to do is see the growth of our Instagram. YouTube is another one where it's like consistency. I think the quality of YouTube is way less important than the quantity. So for a different platform. Most of the channels that have tons of followers are terrible quality.
Yeah, some of them are really bad.
Yeah, but they have great engagement. I remember Bradley Martin. It was like he was using like a $300 camera. Steve Cook, the same thing. He's using a selfie camera, walking around, talking to himself, editing it himself, literally nothing special. And then on the flip side, you have Rob Bailey doing his one that was extremely high quality. He's like great videographer, great editor, very creative, and getting way less views than Bradley Martin with his little shitty camera, has no idea what he's doing, just being a goofball. And he's getting 10 times, more than 10 times, maybe 50 times more views. And Rob's quality of his content and the things he was saying is infinitely better. He's using his own music he's made. I mean, but so that's the thing. It's like, why? The reason why is because Bradley Martin was doing videos every day, and he was engaging the people every day. And Rob would do one. He would do 3 in a week, and then he wouldn't do one for a month. And then he would do 3 for a month, and then he'd do every day for 5 weeks. It wasn't a regular, consistent thing. Yeah, it wasn't a consistent. Now, I know there's something with the algorithm for YouTube related to consistency, and you have more likelihood of being shown to people as a suggested video. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that. I'm not a YouTube expert by any means. We run YouTube ads, and that's a way certainly that you could get a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, but we don't really focus on that.
Yeah. And I've got to tell you, like with your, what's the weekly video you
Weekly
do?
debrief. Weekly
Yeah.
debrief.
Yeah. Well,
The funny
when,
thing in the beginning.
no,
Or me.
the yeah,
Readiness report.
you and Eduardo. Yeah, Readiness Report. Yeah.
Yeah, readiness
When
report,
you guys do that, like I watch that every week, and the consistency of that, you're doing that every week, which is really, really cool. And when you were with your previous company, Blackstone Labs, when you and PJ did something, it was inconsistent. You know what I mean? And
Very
I know
consistent.
for a fact that if I know the Readiness Report's always going to be up, it's something that I do all the time and regularly. But if it's something that's like might be up every now and then, you don't really know. I know you're not
You
as
can't
drawn
count
to
on
it.
it.
Yeah, and you're not
Right.
invested either. So,
And that's a good example. So the readiness report, when we started, we would get like 30 people watching, 25 people watching, and then we would get a lot of views after the fact. So people would end up watching it, and we would have a few thousand people on Facebook that would a few thousand views, and then Instagram maybe we'd get like 2,000 or 3,000 views, but almost all of them were after the fact. And like the last one, I think we had like 180 people watching live on Instagram, and we had like 50 people on Facebook watching live, and then we had 35 people on YouTube watching live.
Yeah.
So, even though that's not going to be like, that's no shocking amount of people,
Yeah.
but for us, it has grown super significantly. And as a result of doing that regularly too, now when I do a live on in the mornings, like I said, I get 50 or 60 people, and we do like an announcement. I've got 900 people before when we did like the scavenger hunt stuff and everything, where people got all excited when we gave away a MacBook and everything. And I think you're conditioning people to want to watch stuff. They feel like something interesting may be happening,
Yeah, for sure. In business, is it important to have a point of difference? I know Redcon1, like you got the military aspect. You're extremely transparent. Like, I mean, you had a video up the other day of like what a box looks like of bars that's, deconstructed and how they have to design it and things like that. Like you don't see that from other big supplement companies or other big companies in general.
Right.
Do you focus on these points of difference, and do you think a business really needs that?
So, I think that we live, in the supplement business especially, but there's a lot of very crowded industries, and there's a lot of them, and supplements is probably towards the worst. There's more companies every day. The barrier to entry in sports supplements is very low. Yeah. Because it's not regulated by the FDA, and over there I know it's a similar type situation. So it's there's a real easy. So you got 50 grand, you can be a CEO of a supplement company. Hell, you got 20 grand, you could probably be a CEO of a supplement company.
Yeah.
Because there's companies out there, there's manufacturers that will run very limited runs, and they'll make you 288 pre-workouts, and now you're a supplement company. Because of that, you better figure out why you. Like, why would, say, Joe Blow starts a supplement company? Why would anybody ever buy his protein powder over mine?
Yeah.
It's impossible. Why? No, it doesn't make sense. So if he says protein powder, if that's what he says, this is my protein powder, I'm Joe Blow, they're going to be like, I'm buying Redcon, right? And when Redcon started, that was something that was very important to figure out. I knew from the very beginning, before, when I left Blackstone, I knew that the next company I had to be unique and have something different about it. What's going to be different about Redcon or this new company? Why would they ever buy Redcon over Blackstone? Why would they buy Redcon over this one or the other one? So I thought about that very early on. And when people ask me about businesses, somebody says, "Hey, I'm starting a T-shirt business." The first question I would ask them is, "Why would I buy your T-shirts? What's the reason? Like, pitch me. What's different about your T-shirt?" And if the person goes, "I don't know," then chances are it's not going to be a successful business.
Yeah.
Because there's too many. Why you? And that's something that I think people need to be honest with themselves before they start a business and say, like, why would anybody buy them? Like, you need to know that answer. If you don't know the answer, then you should wait till you know.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good answer. Now I want to give, I've just got a couple more quick questions. Example, I suppose, of a business, like, I don't want to ask for a full business strategy, but what I'm asking is, like, there's a lot of trainers, there's a lot of coaches out there and stuff, and probably quite a lot actually watching this. What would be an example of the first thing you would do if you got back into coaching, if Redcon blew up and like you had no money and you're like, I'm just going to coach people for money? What would be the first thing you'd do? Would it be posting content online? Would it be posting videos to show people how to do things?
As a trainer, you mean? As a trainer?
Yeah, sure.
As a trainer. Um, well, if I were going to go back into business as a trainer, I would definitely want to feature the work that I've done, my body of work, which would be other people's transformations.
Yeah.
I think by showing what you've been able to accomplish with somebody's physique, I think that and testimonials, pictures is a big deal. So I would want to really document the things that I was doing with people, and like if I were working with somebody, I really want to. Obviously, you got to get the person's approval for all this stuff, but I would love to get them on video and show the whole process, document check-ins, show the process, and then utilize that to sell other people. So that would be definitely part of my strategy. If I were going to be a trainer, that would be one of them. And then obviously, the most powerful thing you could do with if you train somebody is word of mouth. Have them promote you, tell other people, please tell your friends, to let them know like this, you worked with me, etc. Post about it on social media. Use your clients as influencers, and I think that is a huge deal. If you think about the people that are really successful coaches inside the bodybuilding industry, everybody knows who their clients are. So like Hani Rambod, right? Everybody knows. Phil Heath talks about Hani. You see him there. He's like well known. So in the industry, you know all the people that he's working with because he probably insists that they talk about him, right?
Yeah.
And he certainly did in the beginning. Whether he does now or not, I don't know. But he certainly did, and so do all the other guys. Neil Hill is basically a family friend of ours. When Neil works with somebody that he thinks is good, you better believe he's telling them put in their bio Y3T training.
Yeah.
He tells them please tag me in these posts. He wants to be recognized because he is. If he's helping somebody good, that helps market him.
Yeah.
And now that he's training Rami, you better believe he wants Rami posting about him because it will help his business.
Yeah, for sure. And last main question, then I've just got a few quick fire listener questions. How do you decide when to delegate and when to do something yourself? Because obviously you have to do a ton of delegation right now, and you have a ton of employees. But I suppose earlier on, how do you decide when to do something yourself and when to delegate it?
Well, because I've had a lot of business experience now and I've had a lot of successes, at one point I had 6 different, multi-million-dollar successful businesses. So, I have had the experience to know now that I can't do a lot of stuff myself. Even if I can do it, it's not optimal for me to spend my time on a lot of things. So right from the very beginning of Redcon, I knew that and brought people on and found a good team and built a really good team, super strong team, so that I deal with the kind of like 30,000 foot looking down stuff, and I make the big decisions. But in terms of the actual daily, grind type of stuff, I'm doing very little of it. So yeah, we have an art department. We have a IT/coding team. We have 4 people in the video department. We have a big, large marketing department. We have digital marketers. We have a marketing director. We have so we have everything. We have all these pieces of this puzzle. So I'm essentially like the idea guy. That's the best way to put it. And then I am kind of like orchestrating all the things. I'm pulling the strings to some degree, but these people are the ones doing the job. So when you see like a really cool video, I don't necessarily have anything to do with it. Even if I'm in it, maybe I'm in it, maybe I'm not in it. And it doesn't mean like most of the good ideas from Redcon1 don't come from me. And that's just how it's got to be. So depending on who you want to be, you need to decide very early on, like who you're trying to be. Are you trying to be a sole proprietor that's doing everything on your own? You can do that and make money for sure. But if you're trying to be a semi-large business, medium-sized business, large business, if you have goals of creating this dynasty or empire, you better believe you're doing very little. If I was still packing the packages with how me and PJ did in the very beginning, Redcon certainly could not be anywhere near this because I'd be packing packages all day.
Yeah.
And that would be what I would be spending my time on. So, I think that delegating is extremely important, and you have to figure out how you can trust people, because obviously there's a lot of things. So there's jobs, right, that I don't do, the physical, actual work. that I honestly believe that I could do better than a lot of people that work for me. I have an awesome team, and I don't want to make it sound like they're not all amazing. There's plenty of things that I can't do. I obviously can't create any of the art. I'm not an artistic guy like that. Yeah. But like if I look at the jobs, I guarantee you I can pack better than all these guys, right? Yeah. I can do the inventory. If I focus all my energy on inventory, I can be the best inventory manager anybody's ever seen. If I focus my energy on, video creation, video direction, I guarantee I could do awesome. A lot of this, the marketing stuff, I could do the whole thing by myself. Every piece of the marketing department I could do by myself. But I couldn't do all of that, I could maybe do one, and then what? And then what? So you have to really be honest with yourself, with who you want to be, because there's nothing wrong with doing it all yourself. You just have to be content with the fact that you're going to be very small.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so, because hiring people is scary, because you're trusting them to do something for you that you could probably do, and you may be able to do it better than them. But you have to be honest with yourself and say, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to pack the packages and run the business. It's just not. It's not possible unless you're going to keep it small.
Yeah, for sure. Few listener or viewer questions. First one you're probably not going to like, and it's pretty basic. You can answer this with a yes or no. Are you on speaking terms with PJ Braun?
No, we're not cool at all. We're not cool
I
at
didn't
all.
think so. Someone said just ask him anything on business. I think we've done that. Another one, would you write a book on your success, or life in general, or on your life in general, sorry?
Yes, I plan to.
Oh, awesome.
I plan to. I'm trying to find a good ending point to the story. So, because I have a great beginning, I have a lot of like chapters figured out, like in the book, right? What I could do and where it can kind of go. But I really want to have like a kind of like a good ending, a crescendo kind of thing, where it's like something really huge happens in my life. It's really a positive, so I can start at the bottom and talk about all the bad stuff, and then end at a really, really good high point. So and also because I'm super busy with everything else, to do that really right, I feel like it would take a lot of time and effort, and it would take that away from what I'm currently doing. But that is 100% part of the plan. My mom's very excited about that. She's collected all my stuff from when I was a kid, and she remembers. My thing is, because I did so much drugs, there's a lot of stuff I just don't even remember. Like it didn't exist to me. And so when even the stuff with drugs, like when I was doing drugs, it's like I have a few friends that are still alive from that period of time, and they'll remind me of stuff. I'm like, oh shit. So I remember every once in a while. I remember like a really great story, and I always make sure to remember, like write it down or talk about it with somebody, because if I talk about it, if I tell the story, then it like kind of ingrains it in my mind a little more. But so much stuff is like a haze that I'm like kind of already kind of thinking about planning for this. But yes, 100% the answer is yes. I will one day do a book.
Yeah, your mum must be like super, super happy compared to where you were, compared to where you are now. Like her mind would be much more.
Well, my dad, it was very nice. My dad was very proud of me, and she I think that more than anything, my family is just kind of like almost like in shock, I think would be the best way to put it. Like it's like such a crazy thing, because I wasn't a successful kid to begin with. I was kind of a problem kid. I had ADD. I wasn't good in school. I didn't make good grades. I quit high school. I did not finish high school. I ended up getting a GED. I never went to college. So I come from a family of pretty successful people, varying from successful to extremely successful, And so like I would say that I was the bottom of the barrel, right?
Yeah.
In terms, I have a lot of cousins, 15 cousins. And I would say of my 15 cousins, I would say I would probably be the least likely to succeed. And yet somehow I am number one, by far, in terms of success that I've achieved, like things we've done and I've done. And some of them are very successful. It's not saying that they're not. It's that I am such an outlier. So I think a lot of them are kind of confused and and a lot of the people, like I have some friends that I'm younger that were very smart, did great in school, went to Ivy League schools, got graduate schools, Ivy League graduate schools, got really good jobs, and they're relatively unhappy in these jobs, making, good livings, very good livings, $400,000 a year, and they're looking at me being like, what the fuck? Kind of like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Because I didn't do any of that. I did none of that stuff. I did nothing right, and ended up here. So my whole story, I think the reason why I think it's important to tell and why the book is important, and in talking more about that, I've been focusing my New Year's resolution to myself was to talk more about bad stuff in my life, because I don't talk about it a lot. I haven't talked about it a lot because I'm so focused on what we're doing, and I forget that my story started so bad and ended up here in this really surreal place. So that truly shows you that anybody can do it, because there's nothing about me that I didn't have any advantages. Nobody helped me along the way. Mommy and daddy didn't loan me any money. In fact, I would say I had more people trying to, crush me in my dreams. I had more things against me than for me, for sure. And here I am, in this very surreal position of a lot of success and a lot of cool stuff and opportunities all around me. And, just craziness. Tomorrow I fly on a Gulfstream, a private plane, to GNC to meet with the top people of GNC who want to plan with me how Redcon1 can be the #1 brand at GNC in 2019.
That's
it's like,
cool.
how the fuck did that happen? Like, I'm going on this, it just doesn't, the whole thing doesn't make sense. So the fact that here I am talking about this truly means that it is possible for anybody else, to go from heroin addict that lived in an apartment with no electricity, that had bugs surrounding me, and ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches so he had money for heroin, to flying on a private jet to meet the top brass at GNC, so that we can talk about how my products can be #1 in GNC in 2019. You know what I mean? That's like crazy.
It's next level.
Yeah. So
it's incredible. Like, I always had the feeling that you were going to be successful, but to this level, no way. Like,
nobody did.
No way. So it's really cool that you've done this. It's an inspiration to me. I'm sure it's an inspiration to a ton of people. I'm sure it's inspiring for the people that work for you at Redcon1. So it's really, really cool, and I'm so thankful that you've been able to do this. I just realized how long we've been talking for, and you got to get up early in the morning, and obviously for your GNC not interview, but what do you call it? Meet up and all that sort of stuff.
Meeting.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you get going, but I just want to thank you for taking the time out, and hopefully you'll be writing me a check for $50,000 in a month or two's time. And
I hope so.
If I do win it, I'll definitely come over and visit you and all that sort of stuff. So
good, you have to come get the check, yeah.
Yeah, of course. The big novelty check, that's what I expect.
Yeah, that's what we have. We always have them, don't worry.
Nice.
You'll get a real one too. You'll get the big one and the real one.
I hope so. Thank you very much, Aaron. That's Aaron Singerman, CEO of Redcon1. I'm Xavier for Zest Bodybuilding, and we are out.